Salamat berjumpa lagi. Welcome to ASEAN Today. I'm Dalton Taranaka of Indonesia's Metro TV.
So today I'm Sam Sivana of Cambodia TVK, and we are at the 21st ASEAN Summit in Phnom Penh. It is here where 18 heads of governments, including leaders from China and United States, came for two separate forums.
The 10 ASEAN leaders met, then joined counterparts from outside the region for the 7th East Asia Summit. It was special shirts and smiles all around when ASEAN leaders and major partners posed for pictures at their mid-summit dinner banquet. The event was hosted by Cambodia's Prime Minister Hun Sen and included Chinese Premier Wen Jiabao and U.S. President Barack Obama. Meetings the next day would provide the economic highlight of the Leaders' Summit. Negotiations were launched for the formation of what will become the world's biggest trading bloc. The ASEAN Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP, will connect ASEAN with its 6 major trading partners for a total GDP worth $15 trillion. It will expand existing free trade agreements to include services and investments, along with goods and tariffs.
ASEAN ក៏ដូចជាដៃគូពាក់ព័ន្ធទាំងឡាយមានការយោគយល់អធ្យាស្រ័យកាន់តែខ្ពស់ឡើង
But this gathering was not without conflict. The issue that had blocked the final declaration at a previous summit again produced tension and unusual disagreement among members. The territorial dispute over the South China Sea involves 4 ASEAN countries and Taiwan, with China claiming most of the area. The chair, Cambodia, issued a statement saying members had agreed not to internationalize the issue, implying consensus had been reached. The Philippines objected publicly.
The rules on consensus means everyone must be on board. Obviously, we're not on board, so there is no consensus.
针对有一些国家领导人讲的话，他说，黄岩岛是中国的固有领土，不存在主权争议。 中国维护主权的行动是必要的和正当的。
Among other highlights to come out of this 21st summit, the signing of the ASEAN Human Rights Declaration, which leaders acknowledge is not perfect, but a good starting point. Critics say the document has loopholes that would allow members to violate standards found in other international agreements. And sideline discussions between the world's 2 biggest economies resulted in positive statements from their leaders.
加强经贸合作，以大规模的经济和金融合作来应对我们之间存在的困难，解决我们之间存在的 I
very much believe that the cooperative and constructive approach that we've taken to our bilateral relations is good for both our countries and the world. And it is very important that as 2 of the largest economies in the world that we work to establish clear rules of the road internationally for trade and investment which can increase prosperity and global growth.
Obama had come to Phnom Penh directly from Myanmar, the first U.S. president to ever visit that country. After meeting with President Thein Sein, Obama called on pro-democracy leader Aung San Suu Kyi. The former political prisoner thanked her visitor for supporting reform, but saying that the situation remains difficult.
I say difficult because the most difficult time in any transition is when we think that success is in sight. Then we have to be very careful that we are not lured by a mirage of success and that we are working towards genuine success for our people and for the friendship between our 2 countries.
The ASEAN chairmanship was officially handed over to Brunei. It will host next year's summit.
Also confirmed was the new ASEAN Secretary General, Vietnam's Lee Luan Minh. We will talk with the outgoing leader Surin Pansavan shortly in this program. In other news of the regions, Vietnam has won the right to host the 18th ASEAN Games in 2019. Dubai pulled out at the last minute and left Hanoi and Indonesia, Surabaya, as the only 2 bidders. The 2019 Games will run for 16 days, and Vietnam says a stadium that can accommodate 60,000 spectators will be built. Surabaya was awarded the right to host the 2021 Asian Youth Games.
President of the European Commission visited Thailand earlier this month to strengthen bilateral ties. Jose Manuel Barroso met with Thai Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra, the discussion focusing on ways to launch an EU-Thailand free trade agreement, but also believes that Asia is becoming more important every day in terms of economic development and in facing global challenges together. Now, the day before, Barroso was in Myanmar pledging 30 million euros or $38 million toward the country's ethnic peace process. He said the aid will begin in the new year. His visit there coincided with the conflict in Myanmar's Rakhine state, where violence continues between Buddhist Rakhines and Muslim Rohingyas.
ASEAN Secretary General called on the international community to help Myanmar solve its problems in Rakhine. Violent deaths in the past 2 months left at least 84 people dead. Suryanpan Sawan said that ASEAN could assist with initial humanitarian aid to ease of the suffering and displacements of Rohingya Muslims. But he asked for the international help, particularly for the 22,000 displaced refugees. A long-awaited foreign investment law was passed in Myanmar as November began. The 20 Chapter law says that the foreign parties can make a full investment in projects permitted by the Myanmar Investment Commission. It also allows joint venture operations between foreign parties and local citizens. Related government departments and groups with an agreed upon ratio of investment. Investors from China, Japan, and US and others have begun to move money in the Myanmar following more democratic policies and the lifting of economic sanctions. More ASEAN Today is coming up shortly from Phnom Penh.
Leaders here had much to say about the region's hot-button issues. We put ASEAN Secretary General Surin Pitsuwan in the hot seat. That's next.
You are watching ASEAN Today.
And we are at the site of the 21st ASEAN Summit in Phnom Penh. The man who is about to wrap up his leadership of ASEAN is looking ahead to first some rest and then other ways to help the region and world. I talked with Surin Pitsuwan at the summit site, beginning with his most satisfying accomplishment.
Agreement on the launching of the Comprehensive Economic Partnership called RCEP, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, because it represents a collective will of the countries in the region to come closer together, to be integrated together. And we are working on really an East Asia integrated market that would represent about 30% of global GDP, 30% of trade, 3 billion people
There's going to be an
in the
expanded
region.
grouping too.
Yes, but ASEAN is going to maintain the centrality of it, and countries like countries with whom we have our FTAs with India, Australia, New Zealand, China, Japan, Korea are going to come under one roof. The adoption of the Human Rights Declaration says that all member states of ASEAN are committed to maintain the highest standards and at the level of Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the UN instruments, and the various other agreements that the international community has come up with in the past, including the Vienna Protocol on human rights, on the protection, on the promotion of human rights.
And that wasn't easy.
It's not easy. These are quite difficult to negotiate. At the end, one or two countries were saying that if it is not amended a little bit, if it's not reflecting that we are all committed to the standards, highest that is a standard of the international community, it's going to be difficult for us to sign on to. So there was an amendment or addition in the operative part of the declaration that all countries are committed to pursue the protection and maintenance and promotion of human rights based on the international instruments of human rights. I think that is a good beginning. I mean, if you look at the declaration itself, it probably has some room for improvement. I would be the first to admit that. But I also maintain this very, very important principle: start something. The challenge is for all of us to hold the governments who are now committed through this declaration at the highest level responsible for the issue of human rights violations, human rights promotion, human rights protection. It's up to all of us. I mean, now the governments have committed themselves. The document itself might not be perfect, but at least in principle, it's in the ASEAN Charter, it's in the declaration that they are going to respect human rights, they are going to promote human rights, they are going to protect, and they are going to respect the principle of democracy. Let's hold them accountable. The high point is probably trying to help the people of Myanmar after Cyclone Nargis. That was a very, very difficult task. 4 million people, after 140,000 have lost their life, perished. We had to protect, we had to help 4 million people. Today, a very satisfying moment for me when President Thein Sein came to me and said, you should be recognized as a person who has led the international community in to help Myanmar. Continue to champion the cause of ASEAN, and I think East Asia itself needs some people to encourage it to move along, to lead the charge, to continue to encourage all these governments to work together. If you look at the EU, there were people outside the official structure, whether you go to Italy, you go to France, you go to Germany, there are people outside of the structure, formal process, who are helping to push the process forward. I will continue to play that role. Engagement probably will be teaching, talking to the young, speaking to the youth, because ASEAN, yes, back in Thailand, and internationally. I'm invited to teach in Japan, I'm invited to teach in the US, I'm being offered a position in various universities in Thailand. I will continue to promote ASEAN, promote integration, promote the youth of ASEAN to take a more active role in creating this community of ours.
Pitsuwan's term officially ends December 31st. There will be a handover ceremony in early January in Jakarta. ASEAN Today will continue shortly.
We will visit Laos for a look at tourist hotspots. And we attend the comeback concert of the one Indonesia's hottest pop stars next.
This is ASEAN Today, coming to you from the 21st ASEAN Summit in Phnom Penh. I'm Dalton Tanonaka.
I'm Samsivina, and this is your monthly window into the people and place of Southeast Asia. A major concert in Jakarta marks a pop star return to the big stage. Fans welcome back the lead singers of the band formerly called Peter Pan, caught up in a controversial sex tape scandal. ASEAN Today's Gadiza Faldi reports on the comebacks of Ariel.
They're now called Noah, and their first concert was boldly called the greatest session in history. But more than having a new name, this event last Sunday marked the full return of Nazril Irham. The frontman, popularly known as Ariel, had spent nearly 3 years in prison for a homemade sex tape that was uploaded to the internet. He was released in July and went to work rebuilding a career and fan support.
Keluarga, teman dekat, sahabat, terima kasih banyak kita. Walaupun kita berjalan pincang selama 3 tahun kemarin, 2 tahun kemarin, tapi terima kasih sudah mau memegang tangan kita ya. Terima kasih banyak.
Noah played its new single, Separuh Aku, for the crowd of 4,000 during a 2.5-hour concert. Ticket prices were comparable to international performance, ranging from 350 to 500,000 rupiah or $36 to $53. But those came paid gladly to see their idol back.
Noah itu band yang paling populer, band yang paling populer. Terus di kalangan remaja kan banyak yang disukai itu, apalagi Arielnya, auranya tuh, ya gitu deh.
Kualitas suaranya, kualitas musiknya, kualitas aransemen lagunya juga, liriknya juga semuanya deh. Itu nggak ada tandingannya di saat ini, masih Noah nomor 1 ya.
Noah toured 5 countries in September before this first big show at home. Noah means peace, and its lead singer is once again at peace, doing the music that his fans have been missing while he was away. Gadiza Fauzi for ASEAN Today.
Here are several events on the ASEAN calendar. Former Police frontman Sting performs in Singapore on December 13th. The first ILOILO Comic Con will be held at Robinson's Place in the Philippines on December 2nd, and Brunei will host the 2012 Asia-Pacific Golf Summit from December 11th through the 13th. One of the lesser promoted destinations in Southeast Asia is Laos. But ASEAN Today's Marissa Anita shows us why more people are discovering the land of 1,000,000 elephants.
Tourism in Laos is on the rise, with the country's physical beauty and cultural charms being discovered by visitors in and out of the Southeast Asia region. The sector has grown tremendously, from only 80,000 foreign arrivals in 1990 to 1.8 million in 2010. There is a relaxed style of living here, with cities retaining elements of the original Asia lost elsewhere. Much of the country's culture revolves around Buddhism, with international tourists attracted to the numerous temples, statues, and monuments in Vientiane. The capital city is the center of commerce, but still has a small-town feel.
You can see how rich the culture, how friendly the people, nice landscape and nature, and also the good food. So everybody who likes serenity and a calm, laid-back place in Southeast Asia, I would recommend Laos.
Pha That Luang is a Buddhist monument, the most famous in Laos. It was first built in 1566 by King Setthathirath and restored in 1953. The Golden Stupa is 45 meters tall and is believed to contain a relic of Buddha within. Besides the cultural beauty found here, tourists come to take things home. Laos is known for its silk and handicraft products, many on sale at the Mekong River Night Market, along with shops in the capital Vientiane. Marissa Anita for ASEAN Today.
We enjoy getting your feedback here on ASEAN Today. Our first comment comes from Asep in Indonesia. It's a really interesting program connecting ASEAN countries in a smart way. We appreciate that, Asep. Also from Indonesia, this email from Tony: I can get up-to-date information about developments in ASEAN. That's why we do this, Tony. Let us know what you're thinking. Please email us at aseantoday.tv@gmail.com, post something on our Facebook page, or tweet us at ASEANTodayTV. Where are we going next, Savina?
It was a dazzling display, Highland Seaside Resort, Pattaya. 21 contestants from 15 countries competed in the Miss International Queen 2012 pageants early this month. Finalists were selected from more than 100 transgenders and transvestite competitors from 30 countries. This year's winner was Kevin Ballot of the Philippines, competing abroad for the first time. She beat out runner-up Jessica Simos of Brazil, saying he hopes his fathers will accept him not only as his sons but also as his daughter.
Let's hope his father does that. That is ASEAN Today for this month from the 21st ASEAN Summit in Phnom Penh. I'm Dalton Tanonaka of Indonesia's Metro TV.
I'm Samsivina of Cambodia TVK. Please join us again next month.